Oh my gosh, Tass.
Hey, we finally are. We had a little snow a couple days ago, but we're getting the flurries today. So winter is, I'm afraid, almost upon us here, which I know is your favorite time of year.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So anyway,
Yeah.
are you gearing up for the holiday event?
What exactly is that?
Well, I don't want to say it on here because that kind of information you got to pay for.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, we are. We're getting geared up. We're excited, and should be a really good event this year.
I love the people. Like I saw, we're dropping viewers left and right. Tess,
Is that right?
is it because I shaved?
That could be. Look like your younger brother.
You know what happens? They're tuning into the Tassoul show. They're seeing that Metz isn't here today because I look different. They're just getting right off.
And the task is actually in an office today, so it must be serious.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh man, good stuff.
Anyway, the martial arts business.
We have an interschool tournament this weekend, Matt.
How'd it go?
We do have one. I'm excited about it.
Oh, how will it go?
We're going to run through 90 competitors. My plan is 4 hours. We'll see.
90, that's it?
That's it. Good. Just keeping it small.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Oh, you're only doing beginners? Is that it?
I love it when I get compliments from Mets. It's so great. Yeah. That's just our new beginners.
Yeah, just wipeout only tournament, which is something else that we can't get into now because
that's right. We could do that. We could do that at Darboy for sure. We could do that at Darboy.
Yeah, you can. So anyway, well, hello everybody, Mr. Weaver, Mr. Johnson.
How we doing, guys?
Mr. Edge.
Mr. Edge.
Silverman. Yeah. Yeah, jeans. Yeah. Metz show. Silverman says, here he comes, everyone. The executive director, dressed up today for work.
The one and only.
There he is.
What's up, Silv?
Not much, guys. What's going on?
Nada.
Hey, call your friends. Silverman, if you can give one piece of advice to end the year strong for our industry, the martial arts industry, what would it be?
One piece of advice to end the year strong. Holiday sale.
That's good. That's good. Tell everyone, break it down for everyone.
Yeah. But I am on the wealth call. On the wealth call, I am going over what to do with the money you make at the sale.
Oh, there you go. And still, did you come up with a method for the holiday event years ago at an event called the Diamond Method, I think it was, or something like that?
That was 10 cubed you're thinking of.
Thank you. But want to know what to spend that money on? Wealth call.
All right.
When's the next wealth call?
Second Tuesday in December.
Second Tuesday in December. All right, guys, let's get to business.
That's better than the second Tuesday of next week because I'd have a hard time finding when that is.
Right. Second Tuesday of every week. Anyway, so hey, we put a question out there. So for the four of you that are watching, let me ask you guys, and out of the four of you, only one of you will respond to this, but how many classes do you offer in a day in your martial arts school? Put it in the chat. How many classes do you offer in a day in your martial arts school? Tess, how many classes do you offer in a day?
Well, if you saw me gazing off in the distance, that's one of the things I can't stand is paper taped to a wall.
Yep.
So
All right, guys, Tess's ADD's flaring up. Just bear with him.
So I just peeled this off the tape off of the wall. because it doesn't belong there. But this is our schedule right here. So
All right, so just hold it. Let me just count here. You on Tuesday. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then private lesson times. 9
Yes.
classes. So let's look at this here. We got Mr. Sheffield for 10, but instead of naming everyone, we have anywhere from 5 to 10. Most people, well, we're across the board. We got 4 classes a day, 5 classes a day, 6 to 7, depending on the day, I'm thinking. 8, 5 to 6, 7, 5. Yeah, you know, this is important. And here's the reason why I asked the question. This is where we want to, I feel like a broken record. I can understand why you guys don't like to tune in every week, because even I get tired of hearing ourselves talk.
No, you get tired of hearing yourself talk.
Well, I was trying to be nice and include myself.
That was good.
All right. But here's the thing. Can you guys put in the chat box too, please? How many of you are not interested in growing your business financially? I'd like to know how many of you are not interested in growing your business financially. And this relates to your classes, by the way. Uh-oh, Miss Ramos is on.
Oh boy, you always gotta.
Is there anybody that is not interested in growing financially? All right, maybe there's not. Here's the deal, guys. Then why are you here? Right. Well, Mr. Blackman, let's put this up. I just watched the show for the banter. Good. That's the reason we started the show, by the way, just to catch up. Hey, here's the deal. In our martial arts business, I just cannot wrap my head around this, everybody. You know, I can't wrap my head around the fact that our industry, that more people in our industry do not want to grow financially and give their black belts or their staff or their future staff, if they don't have staff now, an opportunity to grow financially. I don't understand. I just cannot wrap my head around it. And so I also understand and respect that we are not everybody's cup of tea. I understand that. People in our, I know you don't understand that, but I understand that people don't always like the silly, sarcastic humor or the clowning around or the tone or the egos or whatever it is that we're perceived or accurate perceptions of who we are. But at the end of the day, I do know that we absolutely give good information to help people grow their school. And I'm going to give you a concept here for all the answers here. When we're running 6 to 7, 5 to 6 classes, right? Then the next question, put this in. This is going to tie in. Here's the next question. How many hours a day are you in your school? How many hours a day are you in your school? Or how many hours a day is somebody in your school? Let's go that route. How many hours a day is somebody in your school? Now, there's a lot of part-time school owners, right? 8 plus.
Oh, look who it is.
Hack tried calling, and I was on a conference, then I jumped right into this.
What's up, my friend? I need to give him a call. I haven't talked to him in
Look,
a long time.
10, 8, 4 to 5, 9, 5 to 8, 9, 6. Okay, good responses.
This question, just so I'm clear, this question was how long are you in your school, or what time do you get to your school?
How many hours is somebody in your school?
Oh, okay, got it. All right. I was gonna say.
Okay.
Sure people are getting there at 8 a.m. All right, got it.
So now, staff gets there way before I do. Got it. Okay. So here's the thing. Most of us in the industry, except I believe Mr. Sheffield, who has 10 classes a day, right? But most of us I'm going to break it all down. Most of us that we want full-time pay while offering, not working, offering part-time hours to generate revenue. So now the question is, how many hours a day do you think you need to be in your school to maximize revenue? Do you think you need to be there 10 hours a day? I do not think that. And as you're thinking about this or putting it in, let me just say this, and Tass, you know this, because you adopted this system too. It was in 2018, January 2018 is when I think, no, it was January 2017 maybe.
Has it been that long? Come on.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
January 2017.
Here's what he's going to say, and everyone's going to hear the first part, but then some of you don't ever hear the second part. I just want to be clear about that.
Okay, well, here's the deal. We were running all our locations, and our staff was required to get in at noon and work till the last student leaves. And our last class would get over at 9 p.m. So we were working noon to 9, and they can have a lunch in there, right? Which most of them just ate in the school. Well, January of 2017, I didn't think it was necessary, and I wanted the team to be able to do more things because I was tired of hearing, I'm going to be running late today because my car is getting an oil change or this. And of course, I would say, well, why don't you just get up at 8 a.m. and get your oil change, or go do your doctor's appointments, or go to this. But then I started, sympathizing, saying, look, they're not leaving that school till 9:30 every night. Then they get home and they have dinner, like a lot of you, and they're eating late, and they're not getting up that early because then it's just, there's no life. So I said, look, I want to cut out 2 hours. Don't get to your schools till 2 p.m. instead of 12, 2 p.m. Now, at the time, we had full-time in the schools. Now, that's not our executive team and everything, but there was 10 locations, and let's just say we had a chief and a program director, and let's just use round numbers. That's 20 people that I cut 2 hours a day off of. That's 20 people that we cut out 10 hours a week. That's 200 man hours a week that we cut down.
Do you remember the conversation I had with you?
Because
I took those numbers and multiply those numbers times like dollars. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of money that you're paying out for nothing. I remember having that conversation with you, and you're breaking this down right now.
Well, here's the lesson for everybody. So here's the end result, and then let's fill in the blanks. We had a record year. We had a record year financially. We had happier people. Then, and by the way, in 2018, we had a record year. In 2019, we had a record year. 2020, we did not. 2021, we're killing the record. Now, 200 man hours we cut out a week. We have happier people, right? However, unlike a lot of you on here, Tass, and like us, we're running 9, 10 classes a day, right? When we get to work, we get to work. So the question now becomes, and Tass, you can fill this in if you want. Well, why do some people want to work 9, 10, 11, 12 hours, even as an owner? Because you're going to say, well, there's a lot to do as an owner. I work 24 hours. Look, we all like to say we work 24 hours. And when you're growing your company and your business, sometimes it doesn't stop, right? The brain doesn't stop. But there's something to be said about quality of life. And when you're offering classes, the reason we asked, how many classes do you offer? Remember that when you're offering classes, that's the service you're providing. That's where revenue and retention happen. Revenue and retention happen during the classes that you offer. And the more classes you offer, the more students you can accommodate without expanding or getting more locations or getting more space. Class schedule, right? Now, what happens when you guys are in your schools and it's empty? What's going on then? What's the focus? Tass? Sorry, I hate to wake you, but they need to hear from you.
I'm looking at something here. Yeah. I just want to make sure you guys are all paying attention. And I was getting tired of listening to you, so I figured I'd just, all that. Look, a lot of us go to our schools because we feel, and we stay in our schools all day long because we feel like we're getting things done. We're vacuuming, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're cleaning the mirrors, all things that need to be, should be done. But at the end of the day, what did we really accomplish in our business, right? And so the golden 240, if you want, those 4 hours from 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock at night, right? However you want to define that. I mean, that is the time, we always preach about the 3 R's, right? We talk about retention, we talk about recruitment, we talk about revenue. Well, we knock out retention in those 4 hours or 5 hours worth of work that we do by teaching great classes, by having conversations with the students, by getting people, find out when they're going to come back. I mean, little things that we do, hold the door open for people when they come, hold the door open when they leave. When are we going to see you next for class? All that retention stuff. The majority of it, if we teach great classes and we're mindful of it and intentional about it, we can do most of the retention stuff during that 4 to 8 time frame, as well as your revenue side, because that's when your people are coming in, and that's when you have the opportunity to sit down with them, talk about their programs, talk about the taboo upgrade word, right, or whatever higher level of training, if you offer that, whatever that is, renewal conferences, all those things happen typically during the time frame. And for most everybody on here, the act of recruitment, meaning the actual introductory lesson or whatever it is, also happens during that time. What doesn't happen sometimes is the booking of the appointments that we need to generate those revenue dollars from appointments or intros or whatever it may be. And that's what we would do before class, right? So I think that's important to understand that. But when you get there, it's got to be game on, and you got to be ready for it. And you got to have everything planned out.
So the thing that everyone has to find individually is the balance. By how many classes do you really need to be offering? And that's important, because 10 isn't the answer, and neither is 5, right? It depends. How many students do you have? Are you a one-man or one-woman show? Do you have help? And can you maximize all the things that need to be done to get you to a different level in your school? And by the way, hacks, fight team. Well, if you're doing a fight team, I'd consider that a class, because if you're on the floor, listen to me, if you're an owner operator and you are on the floor, you are now working in your business, not on it, right? And the other thing that you have to understand is if you're what is it?
Sorry, Weaver's just always got a way to make me laugh. Yeah.
I used to work 14 hours a day, but that's prior to my divorce. Now I only work 6 hours a day and I don't have to pay alimony. Hey, could be very true. But here's the thing. If you're teaching and you're on the floor, you're working in the business, that makes your business run. That keeps your business running. But it doesn't keep your business growing necessarily. Now, you can debate and argue and say, well, we do upgrades from the floor and this, that, and the other. I understand. But it's the stuff that happens off that mat that is the growth, that helps with the growth of your business. So now you say, well, how many hours do I need to devote to that? Well, here's the thing, guys. It's not bragging rights or impressive if you say, hey, I'm in my school every day at 7 a.m. and I work till 9 p.m. That just tells me you don't have a great quality of life, right? You need to make sure you find that balance. And you can't find the balance unless you know where it is that you want to go with your business. And that's different for everybody. What are we trying to accomplish? What is it that we are trying to do? And I hate seeing people. I just had a discussion, I'm not going to mention with who, literally 20 minutes ago, just had a discussion with somebody about expansion. And I said, man, I hate seeing people do things in their company that's going to create more expense, right? More expense. First, let's figure out all the things we can do to grow the company without creating more expense, meaning without hiring more people, without expanding, without opening another school. Like, I don't want to create more expense. Let's look at what we're doing. How can we do what we're doing more efficiently to grow revenue, but to keep our expenses in line? And then when we do that, then we can move on to adding expense. Go ahead, Tass.
I mean, this is going to open a big can of worms right before the holidays. But do you know who the biggest culprits are of wanting to expand their schools and the reason why? It's you traditional folks that have traditional big form patterns. And by the way, I can say that because I was born and raised in traditional Taekwondo, right? But let me throw this out there. And you don't need 5,000 square foot mat to teach 200 students. So you're going to say, well, you do because these forms take up a lot of room, which ties back to your schedule, number one. And number two, Metzger said it. How can we maximize what we're doing? And are we really, I'm going on a tangent for a second, but are we really watering down our art if we're not teaching a 20 movement pattern that has 90, 180, and 270-degree turns with a low block and punch? Or can I just teach a freaking low block and punch and make them really good at it? That's for some of you, that's going to be like, done, I'm out of here. I'm never going to watch these guys again. I hope it jogs, maybe sparks a little, energy inside of you and says, well, why are we doing things this way? And just because it's done in this big, thick, if it's not in that book, then it doesn't exist. I've heard some people say the martial arts, Taekwondo, Bible, whatever you want to call it. Do you understand that was a group of people that were sitting around doing the same thing that we do today, and we're designing curriculum and coming up with katas or kyungs or pumse or patterns or whatever you want to call it? You don't need those things. You can do those things, and there's a way to do those, by the way. But you don't need to go to 5,000 square feet for 180 or 200 members. You just don't need to do it. There's a better way to do it. So take what Metzger is saying in concept and understand what are we doing right now. And well, let's just look at it from like the other perspective. How can I maximize what I'm doing with what I have, as opposed to, well, it's just easier to knock a wall out and make our school bigger, as an example, right? Because those expenses can add up and they're not always necessary. And sometimes when we go into that creative mindset, which is what Mr. Johnson put on here, prime time we're working in the business and non-prime time working on the business. Well, if we put that thought power out there when working on the business, this is where the ideas and the new concepts and like the new you can come out in your schools, because you have time to think about your business as opposed to just being in the business. So I challenge everybody out there, by the way, and that's not me throwing stones at all, because I've been down that road. We used to teach all three, the Changhans, the Taeguks, and the Palgays in our schools, right? So we did all that stuff. So I feel like I'm qualified to be able to speak on that, because we actually did that. So just be mindful. You could be a BJJ school that just says, we need more room because all of our people are laying down. I would say, well, you get to double your students because you can stack them on top of each other, right? But you can figure out the reason and how things work in your school and be creative on how can we maximize. Not how can you be successful, because you can get success doing these things, but how can you maximize your success with the minimum amount of expense and output? That's really what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Hey, so at the end of the day, and by the way, hey, Kling and Hackelman, he needs a Maya coach.
There you go. I bet Kling, there you go. Hackelman, you can call anytime. Come on, man.
He knows. Hey, so look, we want to find that balance. So you or your team is not working all these hours, but also we want to look at the classes that you offer, because I think some of you that are offering 5 classes a day or less, you're going to start, if you start implementing certain systems, if you haven't done already, you're going to feel like you're busting at the seams, and you're going to expand prematurely and add expenses because you're not offering enough classes, and the other question is, maybe, Tass, are you frozen?
No, you were.
Oh, you are. There you go. Now you're back.
Live thing.
Here's another question. What is better? A 40-minute class with 50 people in it, or 40 people in it, or a 30-minute class with 20 people in it? Kids, by the way, not adults, kids. 40 minutes with 40 kids, or 30 minutes with 20 kids? I just wonder, what do you guys think?
Well, Peloton, Metzger, does a class with 50,000 people.
And look at the results it's getting you.
But isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? But it's interesting because it's based off of a one-on-one experience, which is pretty unique.
You're right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Dude, I'm just playing devil's advocate just for fun. You know that.
Of course.
Yeah. So
but people, this is the stuff that people don't realize. There's a right way and a wrong way. And then some of you get into your schools, even if you 30 minutes with 20, Mr. Sheffield says. Yeah, and I can argue, I can agree with that. I can make the points of why that is better. How many people, sometimes people say, we do an hour class. And then when you go watch a class, you realize that if you use, and I've done this before, by the way, at schools, you get a stopwatch and you realize, well, how long is a student in that 1 hour class or even 50-minute class not doing anything? Because they're sitting against the back wall, or they're in a line drill and they're in a line and they're waiting for their turn, and then they get to do the technique and then they're just standing in the line again. Or the instructor says, you guys work on this. I'm going to work with this group over here. You guys just practice this, where you think they're doing something, but a lot of these kids aren't really doing anything and they're doing it kind of half-ass and everything else. You got to look at the whole picture, right? Wow. Started with 2 hour classes. But here's the thing. But go ahead, Tass.
You're given an umbrella and an idea and a concept, and I want everyone to know. And I'm not going to say it's dangerous, but I want you to internalize it. But then there's questions that you need to ask yourself. Some of you that have 5 classes on here, I don't know if that's enough or not enough for your school. I mean, if you have 20 students, it's way too many classes, right? If you have 5 classes a day. For some of you that have 300 students, 5 classes a day is not enough. So, that's where you really need to have someone dive in and look at it with you. And he said earlier, the balance, right? You got to have that balance and look at where you're at. And if you've not done it before, you're just, I'll say, winging it, or it's trial and error, and you got it kind of figured out. You want to have someone that's looked at hundreds of schedules before and designed hundreds of schedules before, not because we've designed 100 schedules for our school, right? But because we help hundreds of schools do that. It's just way easier to get feedback and see if you are maximizing your time.
Hey, let's throw out the exercise. Here's what you guys should do. If you ever heard us talk about student value, as far as the money you should be generating in your business each month based on how many students you have, right, in your school, but take your active count, everybody. Take the active count, how many students you have, whatever that number is. By the way, shout out to Klingenmeyer here. Because Tass, I don't know if you saw this, but Miss Stephanie Connor did a hybrid of our stats now, where at a glance, I can look at year-to-date conversions, year-to-date attrition, total new students, average active count, average student value. All at a glance. She took something Klingenmeyer was doing with our stuff, put it on a sheet. I mean, this is something we'll share with everybody, at the event or whatever. But my point is take the number of students that you have, disregard after school students. So if you have 200 martial arts students and you have 50 after school students, don't count the 50. Let's just work with the 200, right? And then disregard whatever revenue is coming in from those 50. So deduct that revenue. Just your evening program. Take the number of students you have, multiply it by 217. And that's what all our schools have been averaging for the year, and all of our locations. Not our best location, not our worst, not our best month, not our worst month. The average for the year. The average. And by the way, do I expect everybody to be at 217? I don't. But I do today expect everybody to be 200 plus. Yeah, yep, 200 plus. It's been 185 for a long time, but rents have gone up, things have gone up. And by the way, we're not going to get into, well, why 185, this, that, and the other. We just knew that if you are generating that kind of value, so if you have 100 students, you should be doing at least $20,000 a month. right? If you have 200 students, you should be doing at least 40,000 a month. And if you're doing that, then we know we're running systems well in our school. And now it's about getting more students in. However, here's the other side to that, everybody. I'm letting you in on this. Here's the other side to that. If you're charging $200 a month and your value's $200, the asterisk here is that the billing, your tuition payments that are coming in monthly, should never exceed 50% of your gross revenue. So it's not about, well, you probably just charge 200 a month and that's why you have a 200 up. No, that's not it.
No, this is based off of 149 a month, basically.
Right. This is based off our program at 149 a month. We're getting $217, as a value, meaning take the number of students we have, multiply it by 217, and that's our average monthly gross revenue. That's when you know you're maximizing, everyone, right? And listen, there are so many consultants in our industry that have a specialty area, that specialize in certain areas. We just specialize in internal systems and maximizing revenue. It's not about getting just more people. The more students you get in your school, the more staff you're going to need and the more space you're going to need. We want to fix the systems first, then get you to get more students in your school. But if you're sitting here and you have 300 students, if you have 300 students and you're grossing 40,000 a month, you're making a good living and you think you're doing great, but you're not doing great compared to what you can be doing. That's the difference. And so in our industry, a lot of us just sit back and we're like, I'm doing fine. I have 300 students. I'm doing 40,000 a month, or even 50,000 a month. If you have 300 students and you're doing 50,000 a month, you're doing better than most people, but you're not doing better than most my elite people, right? I mean, and by the way, a minimum of 200, we're at 217. But if you were at 200, that's an extra $10,000 a month. That's an extra $120,000 a year in profit with the same 300 students in this example, right? So this is the stuff that we are trying to convey to the industry. And what is the incentive and motive here? Helping the industry.
Right.
If you guys are doing $1 million a month, I'm going to be happy for you, but it doesn't directly affect my life. If you're going out of business tomorrow, I'm going to be very sad to hear that, but it doesn't directly affect my life. I just want to make sure that our industry is getting more professional and understanding and not being so worried or closed-minded about asking for help in whatever areas you're weak in. That's the difference. Now, look.
There's some questions.
Yep. Do you cap classes? And would you ever tell a potential client that your program is sold out? Let me just quickly, because I've had this with a few, not a lot, but a few clients. Yes, I start looking at what I can do once I get over 25 kids in a class. Not because we can't handle it, but because I just assume the perception of the public or the parents, if it's kids, believe there's too many kids in a class based on like what public schools usually do, right? What people perceive that are outside of our industry. I don't like more than 25 kids in a class. Have we had classes with 50? Yes. But once it starts consistently being over 25, I look at where we can add or tweak the schedule to add another class. And do you ever tell a potential client that your program is sold out? Yes. I've had a few clients where we have maximized the schedule, maximized everything, and we had a wait list for them. It's only been that I can remember two clients where it was completely, we had to do a waiting list. I mean, we just couldn't fit anyone in because we wanted to expand at this point. We did everything now. Now it's time to expand, but there wasn't anywhere to expand.
Right.
So we did that.
Did you see Bart Moore's question? Oh.
How often are you getting students?
Yeah, but and by the way, on that comment Mr. Blackman made, how often are you getting your students to buy more often? Please understand that's one of the ways that you generate more revenue in a school. However, when you see that just in the line, it's like, oh, well, they just nickel and dime everybody, and this is what. So again, everything's in context, right? So please understand, it's not that; it's about business systems that we have in place. We don't nickel and dime our students, just so we're clear.
I have 4 classes a night, 45 minutes a class. Classes are averaging 45 kids. I have 15-minute gaps in between classes to alleviate crowd control and student services. What would you suggest to have more classes with same amount of time?
Well, I'll speak to that. I mean, listen, I've seen
Who's his consultant?
Mr. Moore, I've seen you teach. You can pull that off. You're a very motivating, high energy instructor. I've watched your classes. The issue is if you have four classes a night and you maximize each of those classes at 45 people, 45, 45, 45, that's 180 people that can come to your school on a Monday, Wednesday, as an example, a different 180 on Tuesday, Thursday. Well, you're at 360 people. So if you want to have 400 students, as an example, well, now you're going to have 50 or 55 people in the class. Then pretty soon 60 people. Like, where are you going to end up going? Or in your case, because you're such a great instructor, if you had another instructor that came and took your position, took your job, you want to work less hard, they will not be able to retain the students with this format because it's just they're too big of classes and they're not going to be you. I'm just going to say that they're not going to be you. So you can service those people better when you have more classes and you have smaller classes and they're in a class specific for whatever belt or rank they're at. That's so yes, ultimately, when you want to work less hard, you don't want to teach classes, you need to have more classes.
It's correct. I mean, some of these things, Mr. Belashinsky said asking for help was one, if the hardest, but best things I did. Mr. Stewart said, I thought I was doing well with many students. Then I got mentoring help and realized I knew nothing. Well, you didn't know nothing.
Being hard on yourself there, sir.
What is this? Oh, I never say I'm sold out or we have a waiting list. I just add staff or classes. That is the correct answer until you can't add any more classes in your building. I mean, and that's why I said over 20 years, I had 2 clients where there was nothing else that they can do. There were no more classes to add. I mean, when I tell you it was going all day, every day, I have clients going Sundays. I mean, believe me. Yes, systems are golden. Understood. Thanks, Tass. Anyway, look, you're going into 2022, everybody. I mean, I would love to do an audit of your school. I would just love for any of you that have not been in a Maya program, or really understand. I personally would love to do an audit of your school, get on the phone with you, ask you questions, keep it confidential, and tell you where I think you need some help. And then I'd like to sell you on the highest level program we offer, get a credit card number,
expiration,
and make it a great holiday for my family. You know what I mean?
I love that. That sounds a good pitch.
No, I'd love it to make it a great holiday for their family.
Yes, yes. And by the way, you're at an unbelievable time of year that you can do that. And there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. But and there's a successful way and there's a more successful way. I mean,
by the way, December 3rd and 4th, I said it. Come to Orlando to the Next Level Summit where I'm doing this seminar. Well, I'm doing the seminar. 3rd and 4th. I'm assuming we have some spots left. This is the small one that we do in our office, in our conference room, so you guys can see our facilities, see a live holiday event going on, and we have Friday and Saturday where we're giving you things to close out the year and prepare for the next year. So fly in or drive into Orlando, register, and do it. And by the way, when is the earliest class time? The earliest class time, what's that, Tass?
Well, it depends.
All right, it depends. It could be 8 in the morning, the earliest class time for an adult class, or cage fitness, or cardio class, or whatever you got. But I mean, it depends. It really depends, right?
I will make a blanket statement, and there's going to be people that can prove me wrong on this. but I've seen very few schools, not that I haven't seen any, but I've seen very few schools have a successful martial art, not fitness, martial art program sometime during the day. Not that it doesn't happen, but I've seen very few schools that have a really successful afternoon. What I mean by that is if you've got 200 students, if you have 8 or 10 students in your afternoon class, that's actually pretty good. And there's going to people say, well, we don't, we have 20. That's fantastic. Then you're one of the few. Congratulations. But as a blanket statement, and Metz, do you guys offer afternoon classes, martial art classes in any of your schools?
Afternoon being like 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Not 11.
Oh yeah, Cage Fitness, 12 o'clock.
Not fitness, martial arts.
Oh no.
Okay.
And by the way, Mr. Lightfoot, you'll be here mid-January. Absolutely, come by. We're an open door.
You got to read this whole comment because you can't see it all on the screen that Miss Rainbow's put up there.
I know. It's funny. And Mr. Sheffield, 4:30 is our first class on weeknights. Right. Here you go. Hi, everyone. Shoot me an email if you're still interested in Next Level Summit. Registration has closed, but we have 1 or 2 spots to accommodate you and a team member. Okay. Yeah. And that'll be it. The reason why we closed that, everyone, is again, we do it in our conference room, and we just don't want, we just don't accommodate a lot of people for this little summit thing that we do in December. I'll be speaking tomorrow at Chris Rodriguez's event in Tampa, and we have our big February Maya Elite event that's coming up February 25th and 6th. February 25th and 6th in Orlando. That one will have 300 people, right? But these little summits are very intimate, very small, because we do it so you can see our facility for yourself. But look, I was saying we're going into 2022. When do you want to take a huge leap forward? And by the way, I don't mean a huge leap forward by saying, well, we did a record year in 2021, because 2 years ago or a year ago, we were at 150 students. Now we're at 220 students. What is your gross revenue? What are you grossing? And then from there, we figure out your profitability, right? What's the profit on that? That is what you all need to look at. I'm telling you. And by the way, you gave Mr. Mark Moore great advice. Mr. Moore, I can't say it enough, but he's spot on. It just depends on how long you want to be day in, day out, every day, every class, or be a presence in your building all the time to manage 45 kids in a class. Not many people can do that. Not many people can do that and retain them. So you got to come up with a better system that's duplicatable, that's not going to suffer on the quality level. If you plug in staff and you just want to be vacationing all the time, Mr. Moore, you're going to suffer on quality. If you can cut those classes from 45 to 20, you will not suffer on quality. That's
45 people to 20 people, not 45 minutes to 20 minutes. Just
no people. Yeah, 45 people in a class to 20 people in a class. Then you're giving yourself flexibility, people opportunity, and we're not going to suffer on the quality because it's a smaller group of people to work with and teach and deal with.
Watch this, Metz, because I also know that people think, well, geez, you know what? I don't want to add more classes because I don't want to work that hard. That's the opposite is true in this case. If you added more classes, number one, it may equate to a little bit more time, but it's also going to allow you to work less hard because you can now plug somebody in to help with those classes as opposed to try and take on the lion's share and be who you are in that school. And that's a big deal. So sometimes when we look at that, it's like, man, it's just more work. And we think it's more work for us, right? But if we have a good staff or good team, it's going to be less work for us. Yes, it'll be more manageable for them and easy for them to teach classes and retain people.
And as you become more successful, you can get the confidence of Michael Perry, who carries around this wallet.
Oh, that's so cute. Is that his winter wallet?
Yep.
That's very nice.
His cash and credit cards stay warm.
Yeah. We should open it up and see what the contents are.
I already did before I showed it. I just wanted to make sure.
Man, love it.
Anyway, so guys, any questions? What can we help with? Ask any question you want. It's coming to the end of the year. We're off next week for Thanksgiving.
I was gonna say, you won't be able to ask questions next week because we'll be feasting. Any questions?
Meyer thinks it's cute.
It is cute.
So do I. Any questions at all? Come on, guys. Where's the questions? All of you are sitting on here. You're watching the show. You don't have one thing in your school that you would want to ask. Hackelman's saying, count me in. I think he's saying, count me in for one of these.
He's got a bigger version with strap on it. It goes around his waist. If we could find him a fanny pack that looked like that, that'd be amazing.
Hey, Shane Weaver is watching our count. We have an auditor. We hit a high of 36 viewers today. Yeah, you know what's sad, Mr. Weaver? There was a time where we were consistently in the 60s and 70. And then I let Tass talk a little more, and we had this drop off.
The 80s, and then Metzger started talking again, and now we're back down to the 30s.
Awesome job. I think it would be a lot higher if you added Shelby as a host. No offense, Metz. Well, I would agree with you. What are you thankful for?
You know, it's interesting. That's a great question. You know, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I was in line, and the guy had to be in his 50s who was the cashier, right? And as I was approaching the lane, he's 50, he's got life experience, so you can just see how he can relate to people so much better than some of these younger people. But my mind got thinking, like, why is this 50-some-year-old guy working at a grocery store making, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks an hour or whatever it is? And I don't know the reason, and there doesn't need to be a reason. But then I started thinking, man, what am I grateful for? Like, that's something that I don't have to do. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with working at a grocery store, right? But I think sometimes we end up thinking, like, we're working so hard and there's this grind and there's things that we complain about. And then for me, it allowed me to put myself in somebody else's shoes going, man, I got the best job in the world, right? Yes, I got to be there for the students, or we have to have, team members there for the students. And yes, we got to run our business, but we're in control of our own destiny, which is an unbelievable place to be when you own a business. And my deal yesterday was I need to complain less and be grateful more. And I think sometimes we get caught up in this and that and everything else, and we forget to take a step back and say, where could things be? Things could be way worse than they are right now. So, I'm grateful to be in this industry at this time and coming out on the other side of COVID and still be in this industry, because I believe the best things are still yet to come. And grateful for the people that we get to help. Grateful for the elite family and being able to give back and being able to help other people be successful in their businesses and live the life of their dreams. So, great question, Mr. Johnson. I think that's important for us to reflect at this time of year as well.
And 4 p.m. is not too early to start. It is not. Do you recommend separate class for your black belts only? Absolutely, 100%. At least one a week where you have black belt only class. I definitely recommend that. And then we start, had almost 20 kids. Good. Oh, could I hear input on a leadership program for students that are willing to assist with classes, but not? No, you read it. Yeah. So listen, first of all, let me say this, Mr. Sheffield. We can give you a very quick answer on how you can make this easy, right, with a leadership program, but we have a leadership program manual. We have a leadership program course. I mean, there's a lot to this. But if you want a really easy lesson, this is for everybody. Tass, do you want to tell them how we can quickly just implement a leadership program for students that are willing to assist with classes but not instructors? Or do we have to pay you extra for that, Tass?
No. I mean, he may give you a different answer, but, when I first started doing this is not something I charged for. I just simply, had a leadership class that we would do, and I was looking for people to help out, which would help me in turn in classes. And so my deal was they had to come and assist in one class per week to assist, be able to help and assist in classes. And then we'd have a little leadership class where I would show them what to do, how to hold pads, how to do praise, correct praise, all those type of things. because also at that time I wasn't confident asking for money because I didn't have a real structured program like we actually have today. So if you have a structured program, it's a great program. It's going to give them leadership skills, not just for martial arts, but also, in life, then I think absolutely go ahead and charge for it. If you're looking to get help, then I would just say, offer it to your students, handpick the students that you want to be in it, allow them to assist in 1, maybe 2 classes per week, but not anything over that, because then you start getting into potential child labor laws and everything else. So just be mindful, do not abuse that, and use it for a reason to get those people to come and help you out. That's what I would do.
Good. And by the way, we do charge. Here's our thing. We do
charge. Yes, absolutely.
Right. You mentioned that because we have a very structured program. However, you cannot be in the leadership unless you're in our Masters Club, but you don't have to be in Masters Club. This is all optional. Like, you don't have to be in Masters Club to get to black belt level. I got to say that all the time, anytime I talk about upgrades. We don't force anybody to do anything. But what it is, if you want to just make it very simple, this is not the way always to do it, but have a class every Friday, for example, that's a leadership class where you're doing demo training and leadership training. And like Tass said, how to assist in class, how to praise, what is coming up next week, go over your class plan. What are you doing next week? Then everyone in the leadership program is required to assist in at least 2 classes a week. So at the end of the leadership class, we have our class schedule, and they will put their name on the class they're going to assist with the following week. But it's first come, first serve. We only take 2 assistants per class. So I don't want 10 assistants signing up to assist the class that's right before the black belt class or the advanced class or whatever class they're in. So 2 people in each class. So now you have assistants sprinkled out, but they know the curriculum. They know the class plan. They know what we're going through. They know how to greet parents, talk to parents. They know how to praise and work with kids and assist in kids in class. And they have an idea because we did it on Friday, the week before. So that is an easy, quick way to get a leadership program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, by the way, free leadership program. Put the mop away and change the seasonal advertisements. Or pull down the taped schedules like Tass, like you're in a leadership program.
Right. That's right. So,
well, guys, that's it for today. Have a great Thanksgiving. And Tass, give me a call.
Yeah, I will.
Gotta run something by you.
Give me 2 minutes here. But hey, listen, appreciate every one of you guys. I know you guys are on here. A lot of you are on here every single week, and we appreciate that and are grateful for that. And always good to help and answer questions however we can, and hopefully help you guys take the next level, your business to the next level. But remember, nothing happens if you don't take action. So you got to go execute. And if that means getting an audit, getting some help, for sure hit us up and we can help you guys with that as well.
Right. And I'd love to see you in Orlando if we have, for 1 more or two people, whatever it is, but that'll be it. The rest of you, if you wanted to come, I would love for you to come to the elite event in February, but December 3rd and 4th, right here in our school, in our office, in our other school. This isn't a school where I'm at, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
Hackelman, back at you, my friend. Good seeing you. Great seeing you.
Tass,
thank you.
Love you, man. The highlight. So here's someone, Mr. Weaver, we need to get you a better quality of life.
If this is the highlight.
Right. Thank you, guys. It's great helping out. Whatever we can do, we'll be here for you. Have a great Thanksgiving, great holiday, and we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.